Hey YouTube, it is me again. I'm back. I missed last week because last week was just like a crazy week. So I'll kind of do a pregnancy update and a little bit of a life update. Oh my gosh. So yeah, the last like week has been just like kind of off the charts. This is like dark eye makeup today. It was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. It's not a great look, is it? There, maybe that will soften me up a little bit. I don't know. Like, oh, yikes, that's darker than I thought. Anyway, so, first of all, I guess I'll just go right into the bump date. I haven't taken a picture today yet. I am 35 weeks. We've got a lot of baby. I don't know if you can tell from the videos themselves, if you've been following along, but I have dropped. I don't know if I've dropped as much as I am going to or should, or I don't know if I've dropped like that much, but I have definitely dropped a significant enough amount that it is like noticeable to me from like where I'm standing, looking down, the way that it feels like I'm carrying, the way that my clothes are fitting, just all the way around. It just feels like I've dropped, and I think it's noticeable to some people and not to others maybe. So 35 weeks today. I'll kind of go back. Well, no. I'll talk about my symptoms from just the last couple of weeks, but it does tie into some life update stuff too. So, for starters, I have developed some mild swelling, which is totally normal in pregnancy. It freaks everyone around me out so bad because I had preeclampsia with my daughter, and my swelling was off the charts. I mean, it was unhinged, the amount of swelling that I did, how big I got, how bad it was, every single day. I was trying to remember like at what week I started swelling. This is why I'm wanting to document a lot more in this pregnancy, because I really want to spell it out for myself more than anything. And then if we do decide on a third, I have this to refer back to. Because with my daughter, like it was in the 20-something week that the swelling was starting to be pretty noticeable. But I could get it down. Like it wasn't a big deal. I did a lot of hydrotherapy. I use essential oils, so I used essential oils. And then I know that, so I delivered my daughter at 36 weeks, and it was probably about, trying to remember, it was probably about 3 weeks prior to having her that I just really got to the state that really didn't matter what I did, what I tried, any hydrotherapy in the bathtub, in the swimming pool, any degree of temperature, the oils, anything. The only thing that would work like longer term was the oils, but it got down to where literally every night I was packing my legs in ice and elevating my legs when I was sleeping, and just keeping my legs elevated all the time, and then elevating my legs when I was sleeping, and all of that. And I would wake up and they would still be swollen. There was just nothing that was working. So I count myself very blessed, very fortunate, that I have not been swelling very much, if any at all, up until this point. The reason that it freaks people out around me is not only with my previous experience, but so I'm 35 weeks now. So essentially, I had my daughter next week, and so I don't know whether to expect that or not. I will get into more of the symptoms. I personally feel like I have another couple weeks in me at least, but I can tell that I'm nearing the end. I don't know how close to the end I am. I'm not having those types of symptoms yet, but I'm nearing the end. And essentially, I mean, anytime from next week on, we are on baby watch officially because I could go anytime. Literally, I could go anytime. So, yeah, some mild swelling, moderate swelling. It just kind of depends on how I treat myself that day, if I'm being honest. It's a lot harder to take it easy and to keep my feet up as often with this pregnancy for the simple fact I have a toddler. I mean, it's just harder, but I do the best that I can. So I think with all things considered, the fact that I'm 35 weeks and I'm just now developing that, I feel like incredibly blessed. I feel like we're good. Like it's still not even that bad. I mean, I feel like I'm in the latter stage of pregnancy swelling. That's all I feel like it is. Is it uncomfortable? Yes, but I don't feel like it's anything alarming. I can definitely tell that my joints, my hips, you know, all of that are loosening up. They're loosening up. And what happens then is, like, for instance, yesterday, I don't know if I stepped wrong or what the deal was, but I ended up having tremendous pain in my left hip for a while. And it was literally in the hip where, you know, before, it was like a few videos back, I was talking about having like the significant pain in the front part of my hip, and it kind of climbed, kind of like radiated out, you know, and I didn't know what that was. No, this is literally like my joints are loosening up. I stepped wrong. I did something wrong. And it just put what you might want to call like a hitch in my giddy up for the day. Like it was a struggle, and it was pretty painful. But you know, I woke up this morning and I'm walking fine. I will say I noticed I have a lot of back pain, like a lot of back pain since the baby dropped. I guess it's my kind of my lower mid back it just hurts. And the difference, and I think I've mentioned this in other videos, is I was regularly treated by a chiropractor whenever I was pregnant with my daughter. And I have not been treated by a chiropractor this pregnancy. And it's not because I feel any differently about chiropractic care, because I don't. I definitely, I know I should have been going this whole time. I specifically need it now really badly. I just have reasons. I don't know if I went into those reasons in another video, but I hate to be super repetitive. I just have reasons why I don't now. And it's not that I feel differently about chiropractic care. I feel differently about the chiropractor that I had. But I miss just being able to, being pregnant, just being able to call them up and say, hey, I'm hurting today. Can I get in? Yeah, sure. And then just go like a couple times a week or whatever it was. I miss that. I miss that a lot. And I could have still done it. It's just I don't plan on continuing care with him afterwards. And I don't know. I just hate that. I hate that, you know. I want to find a chiropractor that I can stick with, more or less is what I'm saying. But I should definitely be under chiropractic care right now. My back is killing me. Sitting, standing, you name it, it hurts. So, you know, it is what it is. But I'm just to that stage in pregnancy where it's just hard on my body, and the hormones are making things loosen up, and it's just so easy to twist wrong or step wrong or pick something up wrong, or, you know, just anything. Speaking of picking up and being extremely careful with that, I'm picking up basically literally little to no items. Like very little am I picking up. So I'm trying to be as careful with all of that as I can, not only for the risk of like your water breaking early, but then also just because I am so kind of like out of sorts and in pain. A little. I mean, I talk about being in pain. Other people are in more pain. It's enough to be bothersome, you know. You're just like, oh, because it doesn't go away. And it's not going to, you know what I mean. Another weird like symptom that kind of came up this week, and I actually have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I actually thought about doing this update on Wednesday, but I just wanted to kind of do this, so we'll see what happens with like a doctor's appointment visit on Wednesday. It may warrant a whole other video or it may not. But another symptom that I've been having is like And actually, I had it for like a few days straight, and then I really haven't so much noticed it. That's why I keep like looking out just to see like, and because it was in different like lightings to see if I'm still experiencing it or not, because I feel like I'm experiencing it a lot less, if any, now. But I did have a couple of days where I was experiencing like squigglies in my vision, sometimes accompanied with like a black line, or and I don't know if you really call those floaters, or I don't really know what the term for that one is, because it was like these weird squigglies all through my vision, and then sometimes like an outline of that would be black, or something like that. But like I said, I don't really know so much that I'm experiencing that now. I have a ring light on. I was looking at that. Anyway, I'm going to talk to my doctor about that either way, because I looked it up, because we're in that day and age. And it did say, signs for preeclampsia. And I'm trying to be hyper aware so that if anything comes up at all in the preeclampsia department, it's addressed. We know about it. Doctor knows about it. Any additional testing that I would need to have gets taken care of. So I really haven't discussed that with anyone yet, because they do say it's a sign of preeclampsia, and I kind of have a little bit of the swelling now, just in like the last week, and so I really don't want to alarm anyone. As I said, I'm not really experiencing it now that I can tell. It was really noticeable. And so I was afraid of like, what if I tell them and then it goes away and then they're freaking out? I mean, I'm going to tell my doctor either way. And then we'll see what the doctor says and go from there. As far as other symptoms, it's just like kind of more of the same stuff. I will say it's incredibly difficult. Like every time I talk about it being difficult getting in and out of my bed, or like just being in my bed, like every week is like a new level of that. It's like a new level of ouch and uncomfortable and like all the things. So I can say that there has been a change in that this week. It is still uncomfortable. It is still difficult, more so than before. I have like hair tickling my ear. And that being said, I say in and out of bed, but also laying in bed, finding a good comfortable position is difficult. I know a lot of pregnant women struggle with that, which has led to a little bit of insomnia vibes, like I'm just not sleeping the greatest. Also just the last like week, like I said, however long it's been, has been a little bit chaotic, and so I think that has led to some of it as well. Because my daughter's restless, my dog is restless. I mean, you name it, there's restlessness going on. And so if it's not my own body preventing me from sleeping, someone else is waking me up and then my body makes it difficult to go back to sleep. So I have that going on. I'm noticing more and more I'm struggling with food, particularly at night. I really just think I should not be eating dinner. But I also know I need to give myself nutrition. So I'm finding food to be a huge struggle. Where I'm not normally the kind of person who has a hard time figuring out what I want to eat or how much to eat, really. I mean, sort of I've been on that train, but I'm usually up for anything. I can eat just about anything from anywhere. Sometimes I'm not feeling it, or sometimes I'm like, I really don't know what I want. But it's not that I'm closed off to anything. It's like, I don't know what I want. Now it's different. It's like, I don't know what I want. The thought of eating anything is literally terrible. Everything sounds gross. I think that whenever I eat, I think I'll be sick on the other side of it. The heartburn is just gonna kill me. So in a way, it's almost like I'm afraid to eat. But I've just proven myself right time and time again, and it's a struggle. It really is a struggle, and I hate that. That has been a huge bummer. It really has. So as far as like the baby goes, she's still a very quiet baby. When she makes up her mind that she's gonna move, she moves. And I have had a couple of days where she moves a lot, which is wonderful. I love to feel that. It does come with some woes though, and I'll kind of get into that in a little bit. But I can say that her feet, I'll feel her feet. I don't feel like standing up. I'll feel her feet like up here and around, like sometimes over here, here. But I'm struggling with where the actual, like what her placement is. With my daughter, I never had a problem, especially this far in the game. Like I knew exactly what position she was in. I knew exactly where she was at. This one I'm struggling with more because I think what it is I think the placenta is in the front, and it's creating like this extra lump that I'm like, what is that? Where, and I think that's what it is. I could be wrong, but I do believe that last I heard, my placenta was in the front, but I haven't had any scans since the 20-week mark, or 24 week. And so here we are, like 10 weeks out from that. And my only thing is I'm saying, oh my gosh, I hope she gets in position. I hope she's in the birth canal when she needs to be. I hope that all goes well. We're not looking at that. I mean, I'm grateful that I'm not having all these additional ultrasounds, because I don't feel like that's super healthy. But at the same time, I'm like, where's she at? Where's she at? Um, and I say that, but in the last like few days, I was trying to remember what day it was. But I had this one day, like I felt like she was dropping. I already felt like she was dropping. This has got to be within the last 4 days that all this has kind of taken place. 4 or 5 days, 4 days probably, that all of this has taken place. Like I could feel her dropping physically. But then I had one full day where I had the overwhelming feeling, not like a gut feeling. It was like it was a feeling that she was maybe getting in the birth canal. And I remember feeling that way with my daughter. Like it was a joke. I would jokingly say like, oh my gosh, like pretty soon her hand is going to come out of me. Like that was how predominant everything felt. Like she was very, very low, very much in place. And she was there for, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks before I had her. I know. And like that was uncomfortable. And so I had one full day where I was like, okay, this baby's dropping. And now I feel her maybe in the birth canal. Like, I don't know, because I've been thinking, here I am trying to prepare myself for an early term birth so much that you watch what's going to happen is I'll go like to my due date or go over and I won't know how to act because I'll be like, wait a minute, you were supposed to come earlier. But and I still feel like she has dropped. I definitely still feel like she's dropped. So I'm very interested to see what the doctor says tomorrow. If he says, well, maybe we need to start checking you so that we have some idea, like these weekly appointments, maybe you'll start showing some progression and we have an idea of what we're looking at. Or maybe we need to do an ultrasound and make sure she's in the right position. Or, he could say none of that, because every time I think, because he's a very proactive doctor, but every time I think he's going to be like, oh, we need to do an ultrasound because of blah, 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 he doesn't do it, which is fine. I'm anxious to see what he says tomorrow. But she's definitely dropped. So it makes me now feel more so like, well, maybe she is coming. I don't know how early. I think all women are different and all pregnancies are different. And it's really hard to know. But I maybe I should look that up, like how much before labor you drop or whatever. I guess my mom looked it up because she said something about like with your second pregnancy, with your subsequent pregnancies, your baby doesn't drop like into the birth canal until literally like right before labor, kind of a thing. But like I said, I had one day where I was like, this baby is in the birth canal. And then it's like she climbed back up. So I'm like, what position are you in? I don't really want you in the birth canal, but I really don't want you to be in the wrong position. I need you to be more or less where you need to be. And I kind of think she is. I mean, I don't know. So that's been an interesting thing, trying to figure that out and whatever. It will be, like I said, interesting to see how this doctor's appointment goes, and very interesting to see how the rest of the pregnancy goes and how long it goes for, because I'm very interested in that, because I was feeling so another way about it. Like I couldn't help but constantly feel and say, we just, we really need to be getting ready for this baby to come early, because I know statistics. But I was thinking, I don't feel like this baby is anywhere getting anywhere ready to come. Where now I'm not entirely sure about that. So I'm really anxious and really interested to see how it all goes. I definitely have my moments where I'm done. I'm done being pregnant. I mean, I try not to like be crabby about it or anything, but I definitely have my moments where I'm like, okay, I have to remind myself, okay, Kristen, this is like, you're never going to be pregnant with this child again. This is it. This is the only time you're going to have this. Don't rush it. I was so bad about doing all of that with my daughter, like as an infant and stuff. It's like, don't rush it, because then she'll be out. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm anxious for that. I'm looking forward to that. But it's like, we'll never get this time back. And then don't let yourself get into the habit or the state of mind where you're like constantly rushing past, like you're constantly just trying to get to the next thing and rush through infancy. I was severely guilty of that with my daughter. And I don't want to do that with this one. Um, you know, my husband has been, I think he's almost freaking out a little bit about having another baby. I understand it, but it's poor timing for me. I'm like, you know, and I want him to express himself to me. It's not that, but at the same time, a little part of me goes, just don't say that. Come on. I need you to get excited, because ready or not, here she comes, you know. But I understand where it's, you think, oh my gosh, the newborn phase and the sleepless nights and the, you know, I get it. It's not that I don't get it. I get it. So anyway, so like that's just been the happenings and the thoughts and, you know, whatever. I did put the car seat in the car yesterday. It was kind of weird and kind of sad, and it's going to be an adjustment for all of us. I had to move my daughter's car seat over behind the driver's seat and put the pumpkin seat in, or whatever everybody wants to call that. I call them pumpkin seats, but anyway, had to go in like where my daughter would sit, like behind the passenger seat, you know. And it's just going to be an adjustment, and it's just one of many to come. You know, my daughter doesn't like it. I don't like it. We have a vehicle that has like 4 pilot seats and then a bench seat. And so I'm, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, because we wanted third row seating. But I'm like, oh my gosh, like this was a feature that we loved. And I think we will still love it. But here's the problem, is just like, I was in the back seat so much with my daughter when she was newborn, whenever like we would go anywhere or anything. And like now, what's that going to look like? I'm not going to be able to do that, because there's a car seat in that car and there's no like seat in between. And like, what am I going to do? So it's just, it's interesting dynamics, interesting things that you face that like people don't necessarily talk about when they get a second kid. And I'm like, it was, you know, we dropped my daughter off at my mom's today to be watched. And then because we had to take dogs to the groomers, our dog and my mom's dog to the groomers. And that's a struggle to do when you're not pregnant, take 2 dogs in, or at least it is for me. I don't know why, but anyway, but now it's like really hard. So my husband went with me. So he drove, and I was able to then sit in the passenger side and look at my daughter. But it did make me think, oh my gosh, whenever I'm driving, I can't just turn around and look at you, or, you know, at a stop sign, turn around, look at you, ask a question, you know, whatever. I can't do it. So it's just all adjustments. It's all new stuff, and it's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. So in terms of life, and I'll tie this back into my pregnancy and like with some of the symptoms that I've been experiencing, you know, I was saying that it kind of plays part, and it does. So I have talked about, you know, my grandma's trying to move. And there's like all this hoopla, lots of different things developing like constantly with it. But we've been trying to have a sale at her house for quite some time. And like, we're running out of time. We're running out of summer. We're running out of contract. I mean, we're just running out of everything. And so it's like, we're going to have to do this. I would have loved to have had it like back in like May or June, but here we are. Like, we got to go. We got to do this. So we had it weekend before this last one. Yeah. So we had it August 5th and 6th. And I went out there on Thursday, which was the 4th, to start getting ready. I hung signs. I was trying to, and I say for a reason. So my dad works nights, but it's my mom's mom. My mom works Thursdays, and so me and my daughter and my dog went out to my grandma's to get like a jump on things, you know. So hanging signs, going to go set up for the sale. Well, then I learned everybody had a different idea for the sale, but that's like a whole other story. It's not a big deal. But as I got out there, I realized like not that much had been gone through in the garage. Not that much. Not in terms of having a sale, you know. So here I am, sitting in the garage floor, great big and pregnant, like sorting tools, because I'm a tool expert. Okay, but anyway, we did that. So it was just like a long day, and my mom came after work and stuff. But it was just like a long day. It was very, very hot. It was very, very hot, and it was long. But it wasn't a big deal. I made sure, like, you know, I didn't lift anything over my capacity. I didn't push it. I took breaks here and there, but then it kind of started getting, the day got away, and then I'm like, okay, I can't really like take breaks anymore. If I stayed hydrated and, just stuff like that, and it was fine. So my daughter went with me on Friday then. And the other part is my husband was traveling with work, and he had told me that there was a sickness going around on site. It wasn't COVID, but he was kind of not sure about himself on Thursday. He was coming home on Thursday, and he said, I would just prefer it if you and our daughter, if it, you guys just stay at your mom's house. And then that way I can see how I feel in the morning, see if it's any better. This could be a coincidence, like all these different things, So we stayed at my mom's house Thursday night, and then Friday, like I said, we went to the sale and did the sale, whatever. I packed boxes also, like just a few. I didn't push myself there. Like I said, I really didn't push myself. I sat down, I took breaks. It was very hot. My aunt and uncle came down. That was a huge help, I mean, it sounds like I'm talking about the sale, but I'll get back into the pregnancy stuff in a minute. But this is just life updates and how things went. My husband, whenever he texted me that morning, he just let me know. He's like, yeah, I'm not feeling any better. In fact, I'm feeling worse. I'm like, great. He goes, yeah, so don't come home. Okay. So we did the sale. It was more or less an all day thing, and went to my mom's house. And my daughter was I don't know, she was acting really weird during the sale, real standoffish, which is unlike her. And, Thursday night we were very, very late coming back for her bedtime. And Friday we were a little late, nothing crazy, a little late. And so I was like, she does not need to do another sale day. And I asked her, I said, do you want to go back to the sale tomorrow? She said no. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't think so, and I just felt like it was best for her. So I contacted my mother-in-law, who they live right near us, and said, would you mind watching her for the day? I think we're done with the sale with her. I think it's time for her to have some one-on-one time. We're busy working. She said yes, but I did have to like give her a heads up, because to say, my husband was homesick. We weren't coming home, So I said, that's what's going to be hard. Don't take her over there. So anyway, so then Saturday, that's what I did. I took my daughter over to my in-laws' house. I actually opened, because I was thinking I was coming home on Saturday. That's what I was thinking. And so I had lugged all my stuff home. And all I really did was opened the front door and just sat all my stuff in the entryway and let my dog in and left. My husband was still asleep, and I just did that and left. And so we went and we did the sale. The sale was, especially for where my grandma lives. She lives fairly rural. I don't say that very well. But her sale did pretty well. I was pleased with it. I think we were all pretty pleased with it. And it got rid of a lot of things out of her house that we won't have to deal with when she does move, which was very good and productive, I felt like. It was another long day on Saturday. I packed more boxes. It was even hotter on Saturday, all that stuff. So, anyway, two things from that. Very early on Saturday, I felt like very early on, within the first couple of hours, it was not hard to see and feel that I was swelling more than I have this entire pregnancy. I mean, it was like, and yeah, I will say, like, by the end of it, my swelling was akin to the swelling that I had when I was pregnant with my daughter, like earlier on, that we could manage, we could get down, but it was still more than normal swelling, and it was uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. So that was what I was going to tie back into pregnancy. I just started wearing down on Saturday. Sunday, I was very worn down. Recovering from that sale proved to be very difficult. And I think what it was I didn't do any one thing that pushed my body too much. It was just that over 3 days, we were doing and, in the heat and just all these things. So I think that played a part. I think that that's really what did it for me. Because people would yell at me over doing things, and I'm like, I'm not pushing my body. I'm not lifting anything very heavy. I'm not, my grandma, everything I lift is heavy. You know what I mean? It's so funny. But I didn't. I was like, no, if it's too much, I'm not going to do it. But it was too much in the other respect that sneaks up on you. And that's probably what they were trying to tell me. It's just, I want to be helpful for as long as I can. I hate feeling useless. And I probably get that from my grandma. But she's always like there for me and stuff like that. And so like, I know and have known that I was going to dwindle and I wouldn't be able to do, which is why I wanted to get all my stuff done for getting ready for the second baby, which is why I wanted to do everything I could to help my grandma early on. So I think I'm done. I do think I'm done. I will still help if they move her before or after I have the baby, depending. It's just gonna look different than what normally it would, but I'll still be there. I'll do what I can. That's all I know to say. But then simultaneously with that, so we packed up the sale, we did all that, blah, blah, blah. Somebody took the leftovers from the sale to have a sale of their own, kind of a thing, whatever. So it was fine. I got home a little bit earlier, but here's what happened. On the way home, I was riding with my mom, and on the way home, I get a call from my husband, and he says, "You can't come home." And I'm like, what? So he finally decided to take a COVID test, and it was positive. Now, by this point, he had symptoms for 5 days, because I think Saturday was the 5th day, Sunday would have been the 6th day, and he was talking about possibly me coming home on Sunday, but then that's kind of sketchy. I'm this far into my pregnancy, and so we just decided to play better safe than sorry kind of thing. And so I decided that we were not going to come home until Wednesday. The problem was my dog had been here with my husband, so that's fine. He had company, so I couldn't get my dog back. And Saturday I got back late enough, and we were trying to, like, I don't know. I was very tired. I was very worn out. I'm like, great, all my stuff is in there. So he had to, like, disinfect everything, put gloves on, mask, whatever, disinfect everything, and, like, set it back out the door. I left it sit for a while before I took it or, you know, anything. So basically it was running close on my daughter's bedtime again, and so she stayed with my in-laws. So like Saturday night, I was like all by myself at my parents'. I didn't have a dog, I didn't have a baby, I didn't have my husband. Like I was just by myself, and I'm like, you know, and a lot of people would look at that as a welcomed break. Even though I did get some sleep after all that, oh my gosh, I was very emotional about it too. But anyway, so that's what happened. I worked in the office that week. Monday through Wednesday last week, I worked in the office, and my husband tested negative on Wednesday. I don't know if he would have tested negative earlier. He just didn't try until Wednesday because he knew I wasn't going to come home till then. And so he tested negative on Wednesday, and we came back, and we've been totally fine. So it's just been weird and chaotic and just all over the place. And I can say, coming back to the swelling from the sale and stuff, you know, Saturday night I went to bed. I elevated my feet that whole night before I went to bed. I woke up the next morning and the swelling was not down. So it alarmed me a little bit. I was like, why did the swelling not go down? But anyway, it did eventually go down, and I've just noticed that I'm more prone, easier to swelling now since that time. And so, you know, that's why I just kind of keep an eye on it. I don't want any preeclamptic type things, you know. So I think that's really all for my 35-week, like, catch up, chit chat, update thing, because like I said, I didn't do a 34. I was in the office, you know. I was in the office. I wasn't going to do that. So yeah, coming up this week is really however you want to look at it. It's my last 2-week appointment. But I have to go back next week because I'm on weekly appointments. So is it my last 2-week appointment, or is it the start of my weekly appointments? I don't know, however you want to look at it. But that's tomorrow. We're also meeting with, I don't really know her title, but a lady over there at the hospital. So before my doctor's appointment, we're going to go over. She's going to check the car seat. I'm going to have a lactation consultation, and we're going to do just like a quick walkthrough of labor and delivery. We did the online, you know, virtual tour with her, but she's just going to walk us through there so that we get the actual visual of like navigating the floor plan, really. And then I'll have my doctor's appointment. I'm very interested to see how all of that goes. And then Thursday we have our family like photo shoot and maternity. Like, it's just going to be a mishmash. And so I'm excited to do that, but get it over with, because I hate having my picture taken. But I really want to like be better at doing family photos, and I haven't gotten any for like couple of years, and so I don't know, like over a year, maybe a year and a half. And so I just really want to get it done, really want to do it. I wanted to do it in spring, it just didn't happen, go figure. So we're just gonna do an all-in-one session, and we're just gonna do that. My friend's gonna come over and do my makeup, and I bought a new dress, and I'm gonna see if I can do something with this hair. I mean, I don't know if it'll be straight or curly or what. Oh, that's another symptom. In the last week, my hair has fallen so straight. And if you go back on other videos, like, my hair is super curly. A lot of those videos that I had these unruly curls and stuff, that is my natural hair. But it is like so pin straight that I can barely even curl it with a flat iron now. And that is so not my hair. And so, like, major hormonal shift. And that's very, very weird. So, anyway, that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining me on this update video, and having patience with me being like a blah, blah, talky person. But anyway, so if you're following along, I'm glad you're here, and I'll leave you to it for now. We'll see you next time. Bye.